Hi everyone, and welcome to Windrider Farm. We're here in one of our large berry patches picking some raspberries for our dessert after dinner, and I decided to film this video to share with you how we managed to create this large berry patch and 5 other large berry patches here in our homestead for just a fraction of what they would have normally cost. I'd like to share with you how we managed to do this because some of you may also want to start growing berries. And if you've been shopping for plants this year, you've noticed a sharp rise in prices, and especially in food-bearing plants. Now, our local garden centers and nurseries charge between $15 and $40 per plant, depending on where you decide to shop. So the 121 plants we currently have could have cost us between $1,800 to $4,800. So what if I told you that you could buy all of those plants for less than a quarter of what they would have normally cost? Now, you may not need as many plants as we're growing, but I'm going to show you how to save a lot of money when buying berry plants by showing you where to buy them, when to buy them, what to look for when buying your berry plants, especially what to avoid, and how to care for them. Now, this berry patch that we're in right now is the oldest patch here in our homestead. We planted 12 raspberry plants here 4 years ago. So for 12 raspberry plants, we could have expected to pay between $180 to $480. But for these 12 plants that we started this patch with 4 years ago, we paid a total of $36. Now, how did we manage that? Well, we took a chance on some plants that were damaged and some that were destined to be thrown away. We knew that with the right care and some time, we could restore them to health and save a lot of money. Now, most nurseries and some garden centers have a distressed plant section where they sell plants that have been underwatered, overwatered, neglected due to staffing issues, or sometimes it's just a case of having too many plants that are not selling and they need to make room for new arrivals. Because of those issues, they're forced to reduce the price of plants, and sometimes drastically. But knowing when is the best time to find the drastically reduced plants makes a big difference between saving a little money or a lot of money. So we're going to leave this berry patch and this beautiful sunset for a bit so I can take you around our homestead and show you all the berry patches we managed to create with only seriously distressed or damaged plants. So after creating our first berry patch with raspberry plants, we then created another patch with blueberry plants. We managed to buy 18 seriously distressed blueberry plants by offering to buy everything they had, and in turn received a very good price. These blueberry plants were in terrible shape when we bought them, but 2 years later they've been restored to health and have started to produce fruit. So to bring these back to health, we made sure we consistently took a few actions that ensured our success. We already have acidic soil here on our farm, so we didn't need to alter the soil pH much, but what we did do, even though we have good soil that we amend with our own compost, is we made sure that we used a good organic fertilizer regularly to ensure they have what they need to thrive. We also made sure we were consistent with our watering. Now, we experienced a terrible drought last year, but we made sure they were watered even though the water level in our well got a bit low for a few months. We realized that these plants are an investment, and with care, blueberry plants can be expected to live for up to 50 years. So we will continue to water them in times of drought. After creating the blueberry patch, we then created this blackberry patch in the back of a greenhouse in the forest garden that we're creating. We made a large raised bed with our compost, and then we went on the hunt to find any distressed blackberry plants at our local nurseries or garden centers. We managed to acquire these plants at the end of the season when they were being marked down to 75% off the normal price. They were in rough shape after sitting in the nurseries and garden centers all season long, but blackberry plants are very tough plants and were actually the easiest plants to bring back to health. All we did was fertilize them and make sure they were watered regularly. The next berry garden that we created was with grapevines. Now, some of you may have seen our video last season showing how we purchased some bag grapevines at a very reduced price because they were destined to be thrown away. These grapevines were being sold as 2 grapevines in a box, but in every box one of the grapevines had died, and no one was buying them because they were afraid the remaining grapevine may be affected by whatever had killed the other grapevine. We were willing to take a chance and were able to buy every box for a drastically reduced price. So we planted all of them along one of the fences of our 2-fence deer deterring system we have around one of our gardens. They had a tough time getting started last season because of the extreme drought and never-ending heat waves, but this season they've really thrived due to the constant rain and the addition of a good organic fertilizer. Also, we made sure they got off to a good start by heavily amending our clay soil with compost so their roots could become established easily. At about the same time we planted the grapevines, we also planted some more red raspberry plants. Because we're trying to create a forest garden, we're trying to grow all the fruit you would see in the forest or in the woods that surround our farm. So we planted raspberries in between our new plantings of grapes and our old 15-year-old grapevine, creating a small path to walk in between. And you can see how healthy these plants are. So healthy, they're spreading out and growing through the fence. With these, we also made sure to amend our clay soil with compost to make it easier for them to spread out, giving us more plants. Just to give you an idea of how much they've grown in just 1 year, the raspberry plants are the same plants as the small ones you see growing here along the fence line. Looking at them now, it's hard to remember how pathetic these raspberry plants were just a year ago, but with the right fertilizer, consistent watering, and time, they've rebounded and are now healthy. And the last berry patch that I want to show you is one that's still in progress. We're expanding our forest garden, so we've started planting berries in the small fenced-in section to the side of the main forest garden. We're growing raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries here, and like all the other berry patches, all the plants in here were once distressed or damaged. I like to call this berry patch the infirmary garden, because all of the plants here are improving but are still not yet at their full potential. But like all the other berry plants here on our homestead, all they need is some care and some time, and in turn, we'll be rewarded with delicious organic fruit for many years to come. We hope you found the information in today's video helpful, and we also hope that it inspires you to try growing berries in your garden.